What's poppin', y'all? Looks like Akademiks has finally admitted that he's terrified of Rock Nation. He doesn't want any smoke. And yeah, everybody else that may want to take that battle up with them, they're on their own. And I'm gonna play you guys the clip first where he admits to this, and then we're gonna get into the context and why I think we'll just see.
Nation is intentionally harassing, bullying, trying to take down many young. Listen, they're not me. Again, I don't got money to bang with Rock Nation. I don't want to go to war with them. I told y'all that already. I'll apologize to JC. I'm good. I know how to pick my battles. That's why I'm undefeated in my odds because I don't take losing battles. Rock Nation is out here deleting people's pages, bullying, doing a lot of things that in hip-hop, all those people who hate me, they would normally call out, but not one of them are calling those people out. So it becomes upon me, and I'm like, all of these guys that when they be talking shit about me, I let them talk shit about me, nobody ever steps in. Rock Nation is now bullying other young creators who they're reporting regular shit, and nobody's saying a word.
Now, the context for this comes in the past 4 or 5 days. The CEO of Rock Nation has been sued by her own daughter. And her daughter is claiming that her mother was doing damn near like illegal stuff, like getting her hospitalized, like saying she's crazy, having some doctor that she's never met pull up on her and talk to the police. She's trying to get her separated from her husband. She was allegedly trying to put allegations on her husband of things that he didn't do and get him into legal trouble. Just like, some of the craziest stuff you could ever imagine. Like if I told this story 2 weeks ago, people would be like, what the hell? There ain't no way, right? Well, I was bookmarking. So usually, like sometimes if I see a topic that I think is cool on X, I'll bookmark it. And I'm like, okay, I might make a video about this. We'll see. So I had bookmarked this. I didn't know really how close to hip hop it was because it is Rock Nation, but the CEO of Rock Nation, like when does she ever deal with rappers? When do we ever speak about her? And I feel like I've spoken everything that I need to do about her in a video that I made years ago. It's called like Dark Side of Rock Nation. It's still up. I'll link it in the pinned comment. There's nothing more for me to add. And this situation, it did shock me. It did surprise me. But when I went back to scroll through my bookmarks, I see every single page that posted, I don't know if it was the newspaper video, not the newspaper, if it was a news video, because it was a television news video that was being posted. And I just saw everybody catch a DMCA. I couldn't even find the clip again. Everybody was catching a DMCA claim for it. And in the video, it was the daughter just talking to this reporter, I believe it was, and explaining the whole situation. Now, this is really freaky because the news organization can take it down on DMCA claims because they own the rights to the content. But you would also think, well, why would they take down the content if it's getting their story out more? And they're not really doing this to other like pieces of content that they have. They're not known for this. Usually like certain people like Vlad, he's going to be taking stuff down. That's just how he rolls. There are other platforms. They're just going to take stuff down. That's their policy. You're not allowed to repost their stuff. And I understand that. So if you don't have a reputation of doing that consistently, why is this coming down? So some people are alleging that it's Rock Nation that's getting this stuff DMCA'd. Now, that's very wild. And some people have caught strikes over this, which is very, very, very bad for them. But Akademiks says like, hey, listen, I'll battle with these rappers, but I'm not going up against Rock Nation because I know what it's going to take for me to go up against them. And then he starts calling out other names and he says like, hey, look, why don't these guys call them out? So he just passes. It's a hot potato right now. And he passes it to somebody else. And I'm going to play you guys that clip. And I think there's a bit of hypocrisy here, which we will address, but there is a point that's being made. So I'm going to play you guys the clip right now.
And I'm going to challenge the Joe Budden podcast. I'm going to challenge the Breakfast Club, especially the Breakfast Club. Because a lot of y'all shit seem to be coming from a heavy Rock Nation influence place. I'm challenging the Breakfast Club, Joe Budden. And again, nothing wrong with Joe Budden's podcast, but I'm only calling them out because of their size. You guys have a very huge platform. Now, I'm trying to say, I don't want to fight no battles by myself because half of y'all, not the people I named Breakfast Club or Joe Budden podcast, want to see me go away. But there's a bunch of other facetious members. So all the rest of them, they're just not relevant for me to name. The point is this. If I really wanted to sit back on this Rock Nation shit this week, because if I see nobody speak about it, y'all should know what it is. Rock Nation is using heavy-handed, somewhat maybe possibly illegal tactics to silence opposition or criticism of them and their employees. Remember back in the day when I started throwing up the rock and I started saying, I don't want no beef with these motherfuckers? Y'all say I'm pussy. You could call me pussy, but if I'm pussy, what are the other people who don't speak about them at all? I'm the first one who told y'all the reason Bobby Shmurda's career is in shambles is because of Rock Nation. Rock Nation did so much shicey shit with Epic. Epic wanted no parts to do with Bobby. They said, y'all go get him. But we going to have to fight it out on a legal perspective because we own him and y'all been interfering with our contract with the nigga. So now Bobby Shmurda gets no support because it's going to be a legal fight. They tried to do it with Uzi. They did it with Meg Thee Stallion. I've been telling y'all this. But again, let me tell you this. I'm not Jesus. I've never told you I'm Jesus. Never confuse act for the one that says, no, I'm just here to die for y'all sins. No. So when I look around and I see, ain't that Debo? And everybody was like, nah, we gonna fuck Debo up. Yo, let's ride. Everybody was ganging up with me like, all right, let's ride. I show up. I look around and say, where y'all at? Everybody at home. Everybody like, oh, I couldn't get a babysitter.
Let's first address why people are not addressing it. Now, you look at Joe Budden, you look at, hell, you've got Breakfast Club, you have anybody that he called out, Charlemagne, all of these platforms and all the other hip-hop platforms as well. And we're talking mainstream hip-hop platforms, either radio stations, either web shows, people that got big deals and have been in the industry for quite a while. We're talking about people like Rosenberg as well. We're also talking about people like Ebro that we're talking about Drake being a rot in the quote-unquote culture, yet these are heavy-handed tactics that people are alleging are being used to silence them. And it was the same organization that had come for Tory Lanez in this scenario. And some people were saying that they used these underhanded tactics to also get people to sign with them. Like Akademiks gives his own examples. Well, the reason why this isn't happening is the same reason why people still really aren't talking about Diddy like that. If you think about it, it wasn't until the last minute or when the video came out of Diddy slamming Cassie, that's when people started saying, okay, I gotta say something now. Before that, people were silent as a mouse on Diddy. When you look at these mainstream outlets, it was only Akademiks talking about Diddy. And this was because they had their own back and forth. So Akademiks was beefing with Young Miami. They were going back and forth. He was calling her a side piece, this and that. This is years ago. Maybe, actually not even that long ago. It's probably end of 2023. Yeah, around November of 2023. Akademiks also had a show in London at the time. It was his first live show, and it was in London. So after his show in London, he talks about how Diddy was in London at the same time, and Diddy phoned him, and he said, like, yo, we got to link up. And he invited him to whatever club that he was hosting. Akademiks didn't show up. And Diddy also reached out and texted him and said, like, yo, why are you talking about, like, my piece, my girl, my whatever, his boo thing, whatever name that he has to not actually claim the woman. And Akademiks was talking about, like, yo, Diddy's really powerful, and he was kind of going up against Diddy, but he was really giving, not Diddy the smoke, but he was not in fear of Diddy like everyone else, and he was covering all this Diddy and Cassie stuff in depth and calling out these same outlets when he was the first to cover the Diddy stuff, and people were just looking off to the side and not paying attention. The reason for that is relationships and being liked. So Diddy, over decades, like since the 90s, a lot of people, even in the case when we're watching it right now, he treated them very well. And sure, like there are the people in the case that, like clearly the assistants, the people working directly under Diddy, it was brutal. Like the guy would yell, he would like make them work ridiculous hours. But there were other people in the industry that he gave opportunities to that they didn't have to work directly with him, but he gave them like not only just visibility, but he also gave them opportunity to make money and to grow in that industry over 30 years. So for 30 years, this person's been building relationships. Keep in mind, someone that starts off at year 1, in year 15, they've probably graduated to a higher position in this company within the hip hop sphere. And then the new people come in and they're not indoctrinating them with Diddy, but they're talking so highly of Diddy and how great Diddy is. So you have this, just like this underlying feeling of like, yo, Diddy is great. We don't take him down. He does business with us. Let's keep that in mind as well. Like Bad Boy, they're giving us money. They're paying for promotion. We've also got Ciroc. They're sending us Ciroc bottles. Ciroc is paying for promotion. How many Ciroc bottles did you see in the back of Breakfast Club interviews for who knows how many years? So he's breaking bread with these folk. So they're going to avoid talking about him as much as possible. But on the other side of just opportunities, there was also the Iron Fist. So back then in the 90s, people were getting bullied. I think Double XL was talking about it, or one of these reviewing. No, it was The Source that was talking about, and it was Benzino who was talking about how the Source mics, like certain journalists, they would potentially get threatened for physical violence because they didn't give a certain project enough mics, because that meant a lot. Like people coveted, like, yo, this got 4 mics, this got 5 mics. We gotta buy that project. That project. That's it. And people were getting bullied in the industry back then too. Like people were running down on them like, yo, you better talk good about us. So Diddy was using both of these tactics. So this brings fear and it also brings love. But altogether, it brings people making sure that they don't speak out on you or try to take you down, because they might even get fired from their own position. Now tie that in with Jay-Z as well. Jay-Z's been in the game since the 90s. Jay-Z grew very powerful very early. Like president, you don't get to be president of Island Def Jam and you own your masters at quite a young age. One of the first rappers to do that. And there's so much respect and just admiration for Jay-Z and his company Roc Nation. And then when he makes this individual, this woman, his CEO, that reputation spreads. So it just goes on to her. I don't know how she deals with people behind the scenes, because she's not a public individual. She's not forward facing in the same way that a rapper is or an entertainer. She comes from a background that is different. Let's just say the least. So Akademiks probably realized like, hey, I'm seeing what's happening in just the business side of things. Now, if we're getting into this individual's personal life and people are trying to come at her, who knows what she's capable of or what she will do. And he already tried the Diddy thing. And right now, like you see the same playbook that happened with Diddy, that's happening with Roc Nation. All of the same people that waited until the Cassie video came out of him brutalizing her in that hallway, they were silent until then. Right now, all of these people are silent and they will continue to be silent. And Akademiks is just saying like, hey, look, I'm not trying to do the repeat of that, because Roc Nation, keep in mind, Akademiks already on his own is facing a lawsuit for something that he decided to run his mouth about, which is like that incident with that girl. That's the only reason he caught that lawsuit. He went drunk on live and decided to rant and like expose himself. And then she felt embarrassed and she decided to file this lawsuit on him. So now he's facing who knows how many multiple six figures to fight that lawsuit, because he doesn't want to give her a settlement. So he has to deal with that. He doesn't want to deal with that on this end too, with the company that has a far, far bigger bankroll. And that's a lot different than dealing with just the artist's music and like, yo, this artist sucks. Like, I'll slap this artist, or this artist won't run down on me, like he's doing the back and forth with Ab-Soul. Or the back and forth with Lil Baby. With Lil Baby, was really just calling them trash, saying he's going to throw hands. Same thing, same situation with Meek Mill. But he is right in that it's just about being liked. People love Jay-Z. Jay-Z can do no wrong. So they are not, if Jay-Z is out here silencing people, they're not going to care, because these people don't ride on principles, which is why, or principles or morals or anything consistent that they try to prescribe to people like Akademiks. So Akademiks is right here, but you can't call yourself like, oh, Big Ak, I'm the biggest, when you're not willing to take on the biggest battles. So you got to understand your role and be like, okay, these are my limitations. And hey, look, guys, like, call me what you want, but I'm checking out of this one. And he's right to do that. But that's where I see the hypocrisy. Where I see the sense is that these are the same people that like try to take aim at Drake of all people and like, oh yeah, this guy's ruining everything, or Akademiks is ruining everything, when Akademiks really, it's not that he has no power, he has no institutional power. He has influence. Those two things are completely separate. Akademiks is not able to get a bunch of people silenced. Akademiks is not able to steal an artist or take an artist from their previous management / record label and get up under him. He doesn't have the resources for that. And I don't know if he has the favorability on like an industry level to do something like that, especially for a big artist. Like, these are two completely different fields. He's more in media. This is institutional, like entrenched within the music industry. And who knows what else outside of the music industry. Keep in mind, Jay-Z was running clubs in New York City in the 2000s. It's shaky. Even the origins of Jay himself are shaky when you look at how the money was made, where it was funneled to. How was he able to avoid so much justice? I'm not alluding that Jay-Z told on anybody, but I'm saying is you deal with a lot of underworld characters and types when you come from that background. And that's where the top of Rock Nation comes from. And what the thing is, what are you going to do? You can't harm a person's public image if their public image isn't how they make money. They make money from being the CEO of this business. So it's a different battle as well. And I think Akademiks realizes that he's showing up with a rock to like a gunfight. It's not even a sword. But y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you do want more information on like Rock Nation history as a whole, like check out the video. It'll be on your screen and it'll be in the pinned comment. It's on my main channel. It's called The Dark Side of Rock Nation. I put a lot of research and effort into that video. Also, when 6ix9ine was screaming about all this, nobody wanted to say anything. People wanted to make a ton of excuses. So I really understand, like, self-preservation is the most important thing. And the same way these people are enacting their self-preservation, Akademiks is too. Although it really doesn't look good when you're like, you try to label yourself as like that guy that takes all of these battles and then you defer a battle. I will for 100% say that. That's why I can understand the fans coming at him and the listeners and maybe even the haters. But if it's pointed towards him, it should be distributed evenly towards everybody else as well. But we know why. Like, the most important thing is to be liked. You can do great crimes, and if people like you, they will find some sort of a way to just, let it pass right over their head. Like, oh, I didn't see that. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see you on the next one.